Welcome back, everybody, to game number 3 in our matchup here between EA and GREE. We've seen some very interesting, well, I suppose it's been a couple of base trades for the most part up until now. We'll see what happens in this game. As we can see, we've got our red Protoss player down at the southern side of Korhal City, I believe the map is. I can't remember exactly. I think that's what this one is called. I don't actually play this one too often. I'm not a big fan of this map. But down in the bottom left is our red Protoss player for Team GREE. Going to be trying to fight back against his opponent, who will be looking to secure a quick 3-0 victory. It is Johnny. I believe it's LML. I'm sort of not sure about Johnny's name there, but we do have a very interesting storyline in this match. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's introduce our blue Zerg player. Over at the right-hand side of the map at the 3 o'clock position, we do have Plastk. Plastk. I feel like I should be on Wheel of Fortune. I want to buy a Vow right now, but we'll go with Plastk because it's just easier to say. But he is going to be fighting here for Team EA, Electronic Arts, of course, in a situation where they're going to be quite happy. 2-0 at the moment, not too bad at all for them. They're going to be really just happy that they're in a spot where they can throw out perhaps some more interesting strategies at this point, or maybe we'll see Plastk just go for a straight-up standard play. So, of course, this map, actually, let's get to the storyline behind this. Johnny. He was actually a player for EA I think it was last season, or maybe the season before, but he actually left the EA offices and went downtown and said, alright, I'm joining up with GREE, and then helped out the GREE team in forming a team of their own for the After Hours Gaming League, so that's why we are seeing them here in season number 3. So it's going to be an interesting rivalry. It's like it's like your favorite player from your sports team is transferred over to the local town rivals or something like that, and we'll see if Johnny is able to secure a win or if he is unfortunately going to go down to his old comrades. Looks like we will have a standard quick expansion for both players. In fact, Johnny is going to go for a Nexus first here. Of course, this map, very simple to take that very quick expansion. It's effectively already in your base. It's a little bit like playing on one of the old 2v2 maps. Warzone. But as you can see, you should be able to relatively easily wall this off here. It looks like Plastk going to have a quick look through. Going to find out that forge is a little bit later than it normally would be. He can also, of course, see that Nexus is there as well. So, you know, as we said, standard sort of stuff coming out from these players. So the map, of course, this one has some very interesting features, which we can see here from Johnny, just going to point out and help us out with this rock tower here. 500 health, no armor or anything like that, but it is a structure that can be brought down, and what happens is when the rocks, when this first I guess phase of the rocks is destroyed, acts like a bit of an avalanche, dropping down destructible rocks on top of this third base position here, which means that your opponent is going to have a hard time taking that. So it's a nice balance between having a base that's like this, where it's just completely, of course, this third base being very close is also a lot harder to take because of the destructible debris there. But if you want to go to a little bit more of a secluded, a little bit of a further away spot, then you head down here to this one and you can take that straight away. So that's why Plastk has taken this one here. Of course, Johnny knows exactly what's going on, knows the spawning pool is done, of course, has seen that the second hatchery is up, not to mention that third one down there at the third base, and we'll see what the plans for both of these players are in a moment. It looks like, well, just sort of looking at some of the positions and the timings of some of this at the moment, doesn't look like we'll have anything too fancy right off, like straight off the bat or anything like that. You do see some players from the Protoss player base going in for sometimes they'll do very quick 3-gate mothership base plays where you'll push out with the mothership core, adding in her DPS, of course, the added bonus of recall and this kind of thing, and you can push across and try and see if you can get some really good damage done at the third base, recall back home, and then you know, be all safe and sound and back home in time for tea. But that hasn't really gone that way just as of yet. Plastk, I don't know how I feel about that scout. That's a very early scout. That started moving through at about the 5-minute mark, which is a little bit too early to catch the standard sort of Protoss, the Protoss fanfare that goes up. Now, It looks like Johnny is going to take his fourth gas here. He's also going to get rid of that Overlord, and now it looks like, well, he's just going to continue up to not continue to macro up. It looks like he's going to cancel some things here. Does have quite a lot of minerals built up, but 3 gates go down, 4 gates go down. I think Johnny is going to transition into a very quick attack here. Looks like the Mothership Core has been brought out into action. The shiny disco ball going to be thrown up here. Looks like a, well, wow, we're going to go pretty hard on the gates here tonight. We've got 7 gates out in force here for Johnny. None of this has been scouted out. Keep in mind, the Lings have been kept at bay. The Overlord perhaps a little bit too early to try and run through the base and try and figure out what his opponent is up to. Johnny probably going to sit around this 34 probe mark and not get any more probes from this point on. In fact, as I say that, he gets 1 extra one. Thanks for making me look bad, Johnny. Jeez. But Plastk, what does he know at the moment? He has no idea that all of those gates have gone up, so he is going to be in a little bit of a tough spot if this once this hits, unless he somehow, by miracle, finds out exactly what's going on. Looks like the lair is, well, around about 1/3 of the way done. Of course, the Roach Warren is here as well. The unit count for Plastk at the moment is sitting at a very dismal 2 queens and 2 lings at the moment. So he's going to have his work cut out for him very soon, because as we can see, the 7 gates are now in operation. Warp gate complete. It's getting started on those warp ins all the way from Aya. These guys are going to be having a very long trip on their hands, of course, as soon as they get here from Aya, they've got to walk all the way across here. There is an Overlord just idly sitting here in this sort of standard attack path that we will see Johnny come along, and it looks like there is going to be a pylon going down for the proxy as well, so he's really going to commit to this in just a second. Plastk, a little bit late with this secondary scout. He's going to walk through and then be like, oh, not much is going on here, apart from the massive gateway attack. And here it goes. We've got a lot of sentries warping in, coming in to help out with their force fields. Now, this is a difficult position on this map because, as we can see here, this very key ramp is going to provide Johnny with the ability to force field out the units. Now, either he can walk in here, if there's a small amount of units inside the main, then he can, of course, come in here and just force field out this section here. But it looks like he's going to stay on the outskirts and take down the 3rd. A very good, a very wise choice there by Johnny. I think it looks like the drone's trying to get by, not actually being too successful there. Of course, the Roaches and Lings now trapped inside the main, but no, there is a small portal they can walk through there. They will be able to come out here and try and get their defensive hats on, really trying to just power their way down and just downsize as much of this force as they can. But the issue is Johnny is sitting on those 7 gates. He can warp in all day, all long, and it looks like he's just going to go straight for a heavy Zealot composition here to deal with these Roaches. And those are some fantastic force fields. It might not seem like it because the Roaches were not kept inside, but they were kept from moving too far anywhere just due to the Zealots at the back. And I think Johnny is going to have his cake and eat it too here, joining up with GREE, bringing them into the fold in the After Hours Gaming League, and he's going to have the last laugh against one of his old teammates, of course, from EA. Plastk, a little bit unfortunate here. His scout just a tiny bit early. The drones have now come out to defend, and you know that is a pretty surefire sign that the game is over. But as we said, a little bit early with the scout perhaps from Plastk, and he's going to suffer the consequences, unfortunately for him, with the Mothership Core up in the sky, providing that extra firepower, able to throw down the Time Warp and the Recall if needed. But the Stalkers, the Sentries, and the few Zealots left over have done their work. A GG and a smile from Plastk. It's all good fun here at the After Hours Gaming League, so make sure you stay tuned. We are going to go into a game number 4 in just a moment. The score is currently sitting at 2-1 in this best of 5, and I'll catch you in the next game.